You don't remember the door closing, only the sound. A dull, wooden thud somewhere behind you. The air is wrong, too still, too heavy. You inhale, and it burns your throat. Cold, not the kind you feel outside. This one sits inside your chest and doesn't leave. Your fingers brush the wall beside you. Rough, wet, frozen. Ice, not a thin layer. Blocks, thick, stacked, silent. You turn, slowly. There's no light now, only a faint blue glow, reflecting off the walls. And then, you see the door, closed. You move toward it, one step, two. Your breath grows louder, faster. You reach out, your hand trembling, and press against the wood. It doesn't move. That's when it settles in. Not panic. Not yet. Something colder. Understanding. Places like this existed. Buried beneath Victorian cities, used to store ice for the wealthy. Sealed. Insulated. Built to keep the cold in and everything else out. And now, you are inside one. You press your palm harder against the door. Nothing. No sound from outside. No footsteps. No voices. Just your breathing. Getting slower. Tonight, you are the one trapped in the dark. This is not a horror story. This is history. The door that answered you. It answers. Not immediately. Not loudly. But it answers. You keep your hand pressed against the wood. Cold. Dry. Unmoving. Then, a knock. From the other side. Not random. Not an accident. A response. You don't pull your hand away. Not yet. Because your mind is still trying to understand what just happened. You knocked. And something answered. The air inside your chest tightens. You inhale, too fast, too shallow. Cold air scrapes your throat, burns your lungs. This is not normal cold. This is deeper, heavier, the kind that doesn't sit on your skin. It moves inside you. You press your palm harder against the door, as if pressure alone might explain it. Hello? Your voice comes out quieter than you expect, almost chugee. It doesn't travel. It disappears, as if the walls absorb it. Victorian ice houses were built like that, deep underground, layered with earth and brick, designed to trap cold and silence. You didn't know that when you walked in. Another pause. Longer this time. Then, another knock. Two this time. Slower. Deliberate. Your hand jerks back. This time you don't stop it. Your heart is beating harder now. Louder. You can hear it. That's when the first thought arrives. Clear. Sharp. Unavoidable. Someone is outside. But that's not the part that matters. The part that matters is they are not opening the door. You take a step back. Your boots scrape against frozen ground. The sound is too loud, too sharp. You look down. The floor isn't stone. Not entirely. It's layered. Dirt. Straw. Packed frost. Built to absorb meltwater. To keep the ice from touching the ground. To keep it from disappearing. But the worst part was not the ice. You don't know that yet. You turn slowly. The space around you feels larger now. Or maybe you're just noticing it. The walls rise high. Too high. Stacked blocks of ice. Clouded. Opaque. Each one cut by hand. From frozen rivers. From winter. Stored here. To outlive it. London didn't always have ice. Not in summer. Not until men began cutting it in huge slabs, dragging it, shipping it, burying it underground. You step forward. One slow step. Your breath hangs in the air. White. Thin. Then disappears. The deeper you go, the colder it becomes. That shouldn't be possible. Not this quickly. You've only been inside for minutes, haven't you? Your fingers twitch. Numb already. That's when you notice the first detail that doesn't make sense. There is no lantern. No light source. And yet, you can see. A faint blue glow, reflected, scattered, light bouncing off ice. You shouldn't be able to see this clearly, but you can. And that's worse. Because now, you notice the wall. Not all of it. Just one section. Something about it feels wrong. You move closer, carefully. Your boots slow. Your breath slows. Everything slows. Because something inside you already knows. You shouldn't get closer. But you do. You always do. Your hand lifts. Hovers. The ice is thicker here, less clear. You lean in, trying to see through it. At first, nothing. Just shadows. Then, a shape. Too straight to be natural. Too uneven to be stone. You blink. It's gone. No, not gone. Hidden. Your breath fogs the surface. For a second, everything disappears. You wipe it away with your sleeve. And there it is again. Closer now. The shape has edges. Lines. Not random. Structured. Like something that was once... You stop. Because your brain refuses to finish that thought. Ice houses stored many things. Fish. Meat. Medical supplies. Sometimes bodies. But that wasn't the real fear. The real fear was something else. Something Victorian doctors rarely spoke about directly. You don't know that yet. But you're about to. You lean closer. Closer than you should. Your forehead almost touches the ice. And then you hear it, a sound. Not from the door, from inside the wall. A dull, soft knock. You freeze. Your body reacts before your mind does. Your hand drops. Your breath stops. You don't move. You don't blink. The sound comes again. Weaker, closer, from inside. Your heart stutters. Misses a beat, then races. No, that's not possible. Ice doesn't hold sound like that. Ice doesn't answer, but it did. First the door, now the wall. You step back. Slowly. Your boots slip slightly. You catch yourself. Your breathing is louder now, you can't control it. This place is wrong, not just cold, wrong, and then something shifts. Inside the ice, you see it. Clearer now. A line. Curved. Too precise to be natural. You stare. Trying to understand. Trying not to. And then you realize what you're looking at. Fingers. Frozen. Pressed against the inside of the ice. Your stomach tightens. Your throat closes. Because now you understand something else. Ice doesn't trap things like that, not unless they were there before it froze. You step back again. Faster this time. Your plachi hit another block. Cold explodes across your back. You turn too quickly. And for a second, you think you saw something move behind you. But there's nothing there. Only more ice. More silence. More cold. You look back at the wall. The hand is still there. Still. Waiting. And then another knock from the door. You turn. Slowly this time. Because now you understand the pattern. The door answers. The wall answers. And neither of them should. You take one step toward the door, then another. Your hand lifts again. But this time, you hesitate. Because now there is a question. And it's worse than the cold. Worse than the dark. Worse than the silence. Who is outside? And why are they not letting you out? And something else. Something colder. Something you don't want to ask. But you will. Soon. And tonight, you are not just trapped in the cold. You are inside a place that was built to keep things from leaving. And something inside these walls has been trying to leave for a very long time. The cold was meant to stay. You don't touch the door this time. You just stand there, watching it, as if it might move again. It doesn't. But that doesn't make it safer. Because now you know something else. It can answer. And that means it can hear you. Your breath slows. Not by choice. The cold is taking it from you. Each inhale is thinner. Each exhale weaker. Your fingers twitch again. You look down. They're pale. Too pale. The skin has started to stiffen. Too fast. That's not how cold works outside, but this isn't outside. You are underground, buried beneath the city. Victorian ice houses were built like this for a reason. Deep. Sealed. Hidden. Not just to keep the ice cold, but to keep the air still. Because moving air melts ice, still air preserves it, and still air does something else. It traps everything inside. You swallow. Your throat resists. Dry. Tight. You turn away from the door. Slowly. You need to understand where you are. Because right now, you don't. And not understanding is worse than the cold. You walk deeper into the chamber. Your steps are quieter now. Not because the ground changed, but because you're trying not to be heard. By what? You don't know. The walls stretch around you, circular, layered. This wasn't carved randomly. It was designed. You run your hand along the surface, brick beneath the frost, then insulation, then ice, layer after layer, engineered, careful, precise. These places were expensive, difficult to build. Only the wealthy owned them, or institutions, hospitals, and sometimes places that needed to preserve things people were not meant to see. You stop. That thought doesn't feel like your own. It arrives too quickly, too clearly. You shake it off. Focus. You keep moving. And then you notice something else. The slope. The ground isn't flat. It tilts, very slightly. You crouch. Touch it. Wet. Not water. Not exactly. Melt. Controlled. Ice houses were designed to drain. A channel. Hidden beneath the frost. So the ice wouldn't sit in its own water. Wouldn't rot. Wouldn't vanish. You follow the slope with your eyes. It leads deeper. Further down. You hesitate, because going deeper means one thing. Colder. And something else. Further away from the door. Further away from whatever answered you. But the worst part was standing still. Because standing still means waiting. And waiting means listening. You take another step, then another. The air changes, not dramatically, just enough. Heavier, thicker, harder to breathe. You inhale and pause. Something is different. The smell, faint, almost gone, but still there. Not rot, not decay. Something cleaner, sharper, like old water, stored too long. Ice from rivers carried more than cold. It carried everything the river touched, dirt, animals, waste. Sometimes disease. Victorian cities didn't always understand that, not at first. They cut ice from polluted rivers, stored it, used it, and wondered why people got sick. You straighten slowly. Your head feels lighter now. Not clearer. Just lighter. That's not good. You know that instinctively. Cold doesn't just freeze. It slows. Thought. Movement. Time. You blink. Too slowly. And for a moment, you forget what you were doing. Just for a second. Then it comes back. The door. The knock. The hand in the ice. You turn again. The wall behind you is further now. You walked farther than you thought. That shouldn't happen. You try to remember how many steps. You can't. That's when the second realization arrives. Quiet. Cold. You are losing track of time. And in places like this, that was dangerous. Because people didn't always die from the cold. Not at first. Some fell asleep, right where they stood, and never woke up. You shake your head. Harder this time. Stay awake. Stay moving. You take a breath. Force it deeper. Pain follows. Good. Pain means you're still here. For now. You keep walking. The chamber narrows. The walls close in. The ice blocks are stacked tighter here. Less space, less air. You brush against one. Your sleeve sticks. For a second, it holds you there. You pull away. Fabric tears slightly. You don't look back. Because now, every surface feels like a trap. And then, you hear it. Not a knock this time. Something else. A scrape. Soft. Dragging. From deeper inside. You stop. Every part of you goes still. Your breath hangs in the air. Doesn't move. You listen. Nothing. Then, again. A slow, dragging sound. Not from the door. Not from the wall behind you. From ahead. Something is deeper inside this place. And it's moving. You don't go forward immediately. Because now there is a new question. And it's worse than the last. If something is inside with you, how long has it been here? And how did it get in? You swallow. Your throat barely responds. The cold is tightening inside you. You look back. The way you came is darker now, less clear. The blue glow is weaker, or your eyes are. You're not sure. You turn forward again. The sound doesn't come back, but that doesn't mean it stopped. Just that it's waiting. Like everything else here. Waiting. And tonight, you are not just the man who walked into the ice. You are the one who kept going deeper, when you should have turned back. What they brought into the ice, you don't stop, even though every instinct tells you to. Because stopping means listening, and listening means hearing it again. That sound, the dragging. You move deeper. The air tightens around you. Each breath feels thinner now, like it's being taken from you before you can use it. Your chest rises, but doesn't fill. You force it. It hurts. Good. Pain keeps you awake. For now. The passage narrows further. The walls feel closer. You can't stretch your arms fully anymore without brushing ice. You don't try. You keep them close. Protected. As if something might reach out and take them. That thought comes too quickly. Too naturally. You ignore it. Instead, you focus on something else. The structure. Because this place wasn't random. Nothing here is accidental. Victorian ice houses followed a pattern. Deep pit, circular chamber, thick walls, insulated layers, sometimes lined with brick, sometimes wood, sometimes straw packed between layers. All of it designed for one purpose, to keep cold from escaping, and heat from entering. But there was another reason for the design, one that most people never thought about. You don't know it yet, but you will. You reach out again, carefully. Your fingers brush the wall. Ice. Then something else beneath it. Rougher. You scrape lightly with your nail. A faint sound. Under the ice. Wood. That's not right. Ice houses used wood in construction, yes. But not here. Not in the inner wall. You lean closer. Your breath fogs the surface again. You wipe it away. And for a moment, you see it. A line. Straight. Too straight to be natural. You follow it with your eyes. It forms an edge, a boundary, a shape beneath the ice. Box-like. You step back. Your mind resists. But the image stays. Because now, it's obvious. This is not just a wall. This is something placed inside the wall, and then you remember something. Not clearly. Not fully. But enough. Ice wasn't always harvested locally. Sometimes it was shipped. Cut from lakes far away. Packed into ships. Stored in insulated holds. Delivered to cities that couldn't produce enough. But ice wasn't the only thing that moved like that. Other things traveled in sealed spaces. Hidden. Preserved. You don't know why that thought feels important. But it does. You move again. Slower now. More careful. Because now, you are not just inside a storage space. You are inside something constructed, layered, intentional. You glance back. The path behind you is dim. Too dim. That blue reflection is fading. Your vision adjusts. but slower than before. You blink. Too long. You shake your head. Stay awake, you whisper it. Not loud, just enough to hear it yourself. Because hearing your own voice reminds you, you're still here, for now. You take another step, and then you feel it. Not hear. Feel. A vibration through the ground. Subtle, barely there, but real. You freeze. Your boot lifts slightly, then stops. You lower it again. Slowly. The vibration comes again. Rhythmic. Not random, not natural. Something is moving. Not in the walls. Not behind you, below. Your stomach tightens. Because now, a new question appears. And it's worse than the others. What is beneath the ice? Victorian ice houses were deep, sometimes deeper than a man's height, sometimes twice that. Layered downward. Ice stacked over drainage, over earth, but sometimes over something else. You don't know what yet. But your body reacts before your mind understands. Your breathing changes again. Faster. Shorter. You take a step back. Then another. Your heel catches slightly on uneven ground. You steady yourself against the wall. And that's when you notice something new. The surface here is different. Less smooth. More irregular. You run your hand along it. Not just ice. Something trapped inside. More than one shape. You lean in, closer, and then you see it. Not one, several, forms, layered. Stacked, not arranged neatly, forced into place. Your breath stops. Because now, the pattern is clear. These are not random. These are not natural. These were put here, deliberately, and then covered with ice. Your mind searches for an explanation. Any explanation. Food storage. No. Too irregular. Waste. No. Too structured. Bodies. The word arrives slowly, reluctantly, but it stays. Because now, you remember something else. Victorian hospitals needed cold. For surgery. For preservation. For things that could not decay too quickly. And sometimes, things arrived that were not meant to be seen. Not immediately. Not by everyone. You step back again. Your breathing is louder now. Too loud. You try to quiet it. You can't. Because now, you understand something else. This place was not just built to store ice. It was built to hide things inside it and keep them from changing, from rotting, from being discovered. Your glad shifts downward. The ground, the slope, the drainage. All of it leads somewhere. You hear it again. The dragging sound. Closer now. You don't move. Because now, moving feels like a mistake. The sound stops. Right in front of you. Silence. Heavy. Watching. And then, a single scrape. Right beneath your feet. The ones they didn't count. You don't move your foot. Not after that sound. Because now, you know exactly where it came from. Below you. Your weight shifts slightly. Just enough. And the ground answers. A soft, hollow give. Not collapse. Not yet. But something close. Your breath catches. You look down. The surface beneath you is uneven. Packed frost over something else. Something that isn't solid. You crouch. Slowly. Your knees protest. Not from effort. From cold. You lower your hand. Hovering just above the ground. Then, you touch it. The top layer breaks easily. Too easily. Your fingers push through frost. Into something softer. Not dirt. Not straw. Something else. You pull your hand back. Quick. Your fingers shake. Because now, you understand the texture. Cloth. Frozen. Buried. Your stomach tightens. No, that's not right. Ice houses weren't built like this. Not for this. But then, another thought arrives. And this one doesn't leave. They didn't always record everything. Victorian records were precise, careful, documented. But only for what mattered. And some things didn't. You brush the surface again. More carefully now. The frost gives way. A shape emerges. Not fully. Just enough. A fold. Fabric. Pressed into the ground. You freeze. Because now, you don't want to see more, but your hand moves anyway. Slow. Reluctant. You clear another layer. And then, you see it. Buttons. Dark. Dull. Still attached. Your breath stops. Because now there is no question left. Someone is buried here. Not in the ice. In the ground beneath it. You push yourself up. Too fast. Your balance slips. Your hand hits the wall. Cold shoots through your arm. You don't feel it fully. Not anymore. Because something worse has taken its place. Understanding. This place is layered. Ice above and below. Something else. You step back. Your boots shift the surface again. And this time, you hear it clearly. A dull crack. You freeze. Because now, you know what's about to happen. The ground here isn't stable. It's filled, packed, covered, but not solid. You step back again. Careful. Your heel presses into a different section. Safer. For now. You breathe. Slow, too slow. The cold is pulling at you again, dragging your thoughts, making them heavier. But the worst part was not what was beneath your feet. It was why it was there. You don't know that yet. But history does. And history remembers something most people don't. A man lies still on a wooden table. London, late 1800s. The room is quiet. Too quiet. A doctor leans over him, holds a small mirror to his lips, waits. Nothing. No fog. No breath. The doctor nods. Dead. The word is written down. Recorded. Final. But the body is not buried immediately. Not anymore. Because doctors had begun to fear something. Something worse than death. They had seen it before. Too many times. Bodies found. Scratched. Bruised. Fingers worn down. Coffins damaged. From the inside. People who were not dead. Just still. Just quiet. Just misjudged. And sometimes, those bodies didn't go to graves. Not immediately. Some were stored. Kept cold. To slow decay. To wait. To be certain. Ice preserved more than food. It preserved doubt. You stand still. You're breathing shallow. Because now, something inside you connects the pieces. Ice. Bodies. Waiting. Not for burial. For confirmation. You look down again. At the ground. At what lies beneath it. And a new question forms. Colder than the rest. What if some of them weren't dead yet? Your chest tightens. Your breath stutters. Because now, you remember the sound. The knocking. From the wall. From the door. And now, from beneath your feet. You take a step back. Slow. Controlled. But your mind is no longer steady. Because now, you are not just trapped in the cold. You are standing above people who may have been buried alive. And something here is still trying to be heard. You turn your head. The darkness ahead feels deeper now. Heavier. As if it's waiting. And somewhere inside that darkness, something just moved again. What they were waiting for. You don't step forward. Not immediately. Because now, every direction feels wrong. Behind you, the door that answers. Beside you, the walls that knock. Below, the ground that hides. And ahead, something that moves. You stand in the center of it. And for a moment, you do nothing. Your breath slows. Too slow. You force it again, deeper. Pain follows. Good. Pain means you are still awake. But the cold is changing. It's no longer sharp. It's dull now. Heavy. As if it's wrapping around you, pulling you inward. You shake your head. Stay moving. You whisper it. Because stopping means something worse. You don't know what. But you feel it. You take a step forward. Then another. The passage tightens again. The walls close in. You can feel them without touching them. That shouldn't be possible. But your senses are changing, slower, blurred. You reach out. Your fingers brush the ice. It doesn't feel as cold as before. That's not relief. That's worse. You pull your hand back. Your fingers don't respond immediately. You flex them. Slow. Delayed. The cold is taking something from you. Not just heat. Control. You keep moving. Because now, you understand something else. This place was not meant for people to stay inside. Not long. Ice houses were opened, closed, entered briefly, then sealed again. No one worked inside them for hours. No one lived in them, because the air inside did something. You inhale again. Shallow. Not enough. That's when the thought forms. Quiet. Precise. There isn't enough air. Not fresh air. Not moving air. Just what was trapped here. Sealed. Used. Dying. You stop. Because now, this changes everything. The cold might not kill you first. Something else might. You take another breath. It feels thinner now. Your chest rises, but doesn't fill. Your vision flickers slightly. You blink. Too long again. You shake your head. Stay awake. You whisper it again. Because now, sleep feels close. Too close. And sleep here means something else. You take another step. The ground shifts slightly. You freeze. Not from fear, from instinct. You move your foot. Carefully. The surface holds. For now. You keep going. Because stopping means thinking. And thinking is getting harder. That's when you see it. Ahead. Something different. Not ice, not wall, an opening small, low, cut into the structure. You move toward it. Slow. Careful. Your breath is louder now. Too loud. You try to quiet it. You can't. You reach the opening, you crouch, look inside, dark. Deeper than the chamber, a secondary space. You hesitate. Because now, this feels deliberate. Not storage, not structure, something added. Later. You lean closer. The air inside is colder. Much colder. You feel it immediately. A sharp drop. You pull back slightly, but not enough to leave. Because now, curiosity is stronger than fear. It always is. You lower yourself further. Your hand reaches inside. The cold hits instantly. Sharper than before, more concentrated. This space was designed differently, more sealed, more isolated. You withdraw your hand. Your fingers barely respond. You flex them. Slower now. Then, you notice something. On the edge of the opening. Scratches. Deep. Irregular. You lean closer. Run your fingers along them. They're not tool marks. Not clean. Not precise. These were made in panic. Repeated. Desperate. Your breath catches. Because now, you know exactly what this is. Not storage. Containment. Something was kept inside, and it tried to get out. You pull back. Your heart is beating harder again. Too loud. Too fast. Because now, a new question forms. And it's worse than the last. What were they waiting for? Why keep something here instead of burying it? You close your eyes for a second. Too long. You force them open again. Stay awake. Stay here. Because now, you understand something else. Victorian doctors didn't just fear death. They feared being wrong, declaring someone dead when they were not. And mistakes like that had consequences, not just moral, practical. Because once buried, there was no way back. Unless you didn't bury them immediately. Unless you kept them somewhere else. Cold. Still. Waiting. You open your eyes wider. The space in front of you feels different now. Not just dangerous. Purposeful. You look back at the scratches. At the narrow chamber. At the cold inside it. And you understand. This was not a place to store the dead. It was a place to wait. To see if they were still alive. Your stomach tightens. Because now, Another thought follows, and this one doesn't let go. What if some of them woke up in there? Your breathing breaks. For a second, you forget how to inhale, then it comes back. Too fast. Too sharp. You push yourself up. You need space, air, distance. But as you step back, you hear it again. That sound. The dragging. Closer now. Much closer. Not ahead, not behind. Beside you. You turn. Slowly. Because now, you already know. Whatever is in here, it is no longer staying in one place. The bell that rang too late. You don't turn back quickly. Not anymore. Because now, fast movements make things worse. You can already feel it. Every sharp breath, tearing your lungs. Every sharp movement, taking more strength than it gives. You turn slowly, and you see nothing. Just a wall. Ice. Darkness. But this is worse, because the sound was real. You know it. You felt it. Nearby. Too close. You take a step back. Carefully. The surface gives way a little under your feet. Barely. But enough. You freeze. Because now you understand something else. It's not just the walls that are dangerous here. Everything here is unstable. You look down to where you were just standing. The surface looks the same. But now you know it's not. There's something underneath. And that something is not stationary. You look up, and just then, you see it. On the wall, a little further. A small metal element. Almost imperceptible. You approach. Slowly. Because now every step is a decision. To live. Or not. You lean in. You look more closely. Metal, thin, old. And something attached to it. You touch. Lightly. It rings. Quietly. But enough to make you freeze. Because you immediately understand it's a bell. Small. Barely noticeable. But real. You pull your hand away. As if it's burned you. Because now, another thought appears. And it's worse than all the previous ones. Why a bell? In a place like this, you look more closely. And you notice something else. A thin wire coming down. Inside the wall. Under the ice. Disappearing. Your heart clenches. Because now, you already know the answer. But you don't want to accept it. You take a step back. And another one. Because your brain is trying to postpone this moment. But history already knows the truth. And it will not change. The body lies in a coffin. Darkness. Complete. No light. No sound. Only the tree around. And the air that is running out. Victorian England. Late 19th century. People were not afraid of death. They were afraid of waking up after it. Alive. Underground. Some families began to do strange things. They installed systems, mechanisms, wires, bells, straight from the coffin to the surface. If a person woke up, they could ring the bell, and someone above could hear. But there was a problem. Quiet, almost imperceptible, and deadly dangerous. Not everyone rang in time, and not everyone was heard. Some rang when it was already too late. Too late. Sometimes people heard the bell, but they were afraid to open it. Because if it wasn't a mistake, then they had already buried someone alive, and then it was easier not to check. You look at the wire, which goes into the ice and disappears. And now you don't just guess anymore. You know, it's not just a bell. It was a signal, a chance, the last one. You slowly turn your head to the wall, to those figures under the ice, to those hands, to those bodies. And now everything falls into place. They weren't all dead when they were put here. Your breath catches, because now the sound you heard becomes clear. Not immediately, but gradually, like cold, slowly, but finally. This is not a random sound. This is not ice, and not the walls. This is An attempt. Again, and again, and again. You take a step back. And suddenly, the bell moves a little. Alone. You freeze. You don't breathe. Because now, you're not sure of one thing. It moved. Because of you, or because of something else? Silence. Thick. Alive. And then, from inside the wall, a faint, barely audible ring. Something is breathing with you. You don't move. Not after the bell. Not after that sound. Because now, there's no doubt left. It wasn't the walls. It wasn't the ice. And it wasn't your imagination. Something here resonates. You don't take your eyes off the bell. It hangs still now, quiet. But this silence feels wrong, like it's holding something back. You breathe in. The air feels thin. Your chest rises, but not enough. You try again. Slower. Your breathing comes out uneven. And that's when you hear it. Another breath. Not yours. You freeze. Your own breathing stops. You wait. And here it is again. Close. Too close. A weak breath. Then an exhale. Your throat tightens. Because now, you understand what you didn't want to. You're not the only one breathing in this place. You slowly turn your head. The darkness around you changes. Not physically, but in a way that feels like it. Heavier. Busy. You listen. Attentive. Trying to separate your breathing from the other. Yours is fast, uneven. The other's is slower, deeper, stronger. This shouldn't be possible. Nothing here should be breathing. Not anymore. Not after so long. You take a step back. The ground creaks beneath you, soft, unstable. You freeze again, because now, every sound matters. Every movement resonates. And something else hears it. You swallow. Your throat barely responds. Dry. Cold. You try to speak. Nothing comes out. Only air, thin, weak. You close your eyes for a second. Too long. You open them again. The darkness shifts. Or your vision changes. You're no longer sure. You take another step. Carefully. Slowly. The sound of breathing recedes. Not away. Closer. You stop. Because now he's right behind you. You don't turn around right away. Because now, you understand something else. Turning doesn't make things safer. It only confirms them. And some things get worse when they're confirmed. But you turn around anyway. Slowly. Deliberately. You force your eyes to focus. There's nothing there. Only ice. Only shadows. Only a faint blue reflection. But the breathing doesn't stop. It continues. Right there. In front of you now. You step back. Your heel slips. The ground moves again. You stop. Barely. Your hand touches the wall. Coldness pierces your hand. You barely feel it. Because now something else is taking over. Panic. Not sudden. Not explosive. Slow. Spreading. Like cold. You press your back against the wall. You try to hold on. You try to stay still. But your body won't listen. Your breathing quickens again. Another breath follows it. It's catching up with you. Closer now. Too close. You close your eyes again. And this time, you don't open them right away. Because now, you're trying something different. Listening, not seeing. The breathing continues. Slowly. Measured. Almost calm. And then, you notice something. It doesn't sound human. Not completely. Too controlled. Too steady. Like it's been here longer than you have. Like it knows how to survive here. You open your eyes. Slowly. The darkness now seems thicker. Harder. Like something is between you and the wall. You take a step to the side. The sound follows. You stop. It stops. Your chest tightens. Because now, you understand the pattern. It reacts to you. It follows you, mirroring you. You take another step. Slower. The breathing changes again. Closer. Always the same distance, never touching, but never moving away. You look down. The ground beneath you is darker here, less frost, more exposed. You kneel down a little. Your fingers hover over the surface. You hesitate, because now, touching something feels like a mistake, but you do it anyway. Your fingers touch the ground. It's softer here, less frozen. This shouldn't happen. Not so deep, not so cold. You press down lightly. The surface gives way. Your fingers dip just enough to feel something beneath them. Not cloth this time, not straw, something else. You pull your hand away. Your heart races. Because now, another question forms. And it's worse than the others. Why isn't this part completely frozen? You look around. The walls. The floor. Everything else is solid. Cold. Dead. But here, something else. You listen again. The breathing hasn't stopped. It's still there, right next to you. And then you feel it. You can't hear it. You can't see it. You feel it. A faint warmth on your neck. You freeze. Your whole body contracts. Because now, there is no distance left. Whatever is here is next to you. And tonight, you can no longer imagine it. You are sharing the cold with something that is still alive. The cold that didn't kill them. You don't move. Not after this warmth. Because it shouldn't be here. Not in this place. Not in this cold. Your breathing stops. Not because you want it to, but because your body forgets how. You stand still and wait. The warmth disappears. Slowly. But not completely. Absolutely enough to make you doubt it. Was it real? Or something else? You swallow. Your throat resists again. Everything inside you slows down. Not just your breathing. Your thoughts, your reactions. Even your fear feels arrested. This is worse. Because now, you don't trust your body. You take a step. Slowly. Measured. The sound of your breath changes again. Still there. Still close. But something about it has changed. It's weaker now. Less controlled. As if whatever creates it is losing its power. You stop. Because now, this pattern feels familiar. You've heard it before. Not here. Somewhere else. A long time ago. You just can't remember where. For now. You press your hand to your chest. Your heart is beating slower now. Too slow. You inhale. It barely fills you. The air is thinning. And now, you understand something worse. The cold isn't what kills you first. That helps. But something else completes the job. You look around. Walls. Ice. Sealed space. No airflow. No movement. No oxygen. You feel it now. Not suddenly, but gradually. Like you're drowning. You blink. Too slowly again. Your vision softens at the edges. It gets a little darker. You shake your head. Don't fall asleep. Stay here. Because right now, sleep seems closer than ever. And sleep here means something definitive. You take another step. The ground moves again. But this time, you don't react fast enough. Your leg gives way a little. Your balance is off. You fall. Your hand catches on the surface. Your weight presses down. And then, you feel it. Not soft. Not fabric. Something harder. Round. You freeze. Because now, your hand knows before your mind does. Bone. Your fingers press against it. Cold. Smooth. Unmistakable. You pull your hand away. Too fast. Your breathing stops again. Because now, you understand something else. They weren't just put here. Some of them never left. Your chest tightens. Your vision flickers again. And that's when the memory comes back. Not yours, but historical. The body lies in the cold, not buried. Not yet. Placed in a vault. Victorian England. Hospitals had a problem. They couldn't always tell when someone was truly dead. Breathing might stop, pulse might fade, skin might turn cold. And yet, life remained. Rare, but real. So they waited. Bodies were kept in cold rooms, underground chambers, sometimes in ice, to slow decay, to make sure, hours, days, waiting. But something happened. Not often, but enough. Some bodies moved, not fully, not awake, but twitching, breathing, turning, and sometimes they woke up fully, in the cold, in the dark, alone. And worst of all, it wasn't cold. It was confusion. Because when they woke, they didn't understand where they were, or why, or how long they had been there. And when they did, it was too late. Your hand is shaking. You look down again, at the place you touched, to what lies below. And now, you don't have to imagine this. You know, some of them woke up here, in the cold, in the dark, just like you. Your breath catches again. Short, uneven. You push yourself away. Your legs barely respond, you force them. A step, then another. The chamber seems smaller now, only closer. It's like it's contracting around you. Or you're contracting inside it. You're not sure. You look around. The walls blur a little. The shapes change. Or your vision changes. You blink. Too long again. You shake your head. Don't fall asleep. Stay here. Because now, you are aware of something else. The breathing you hear is not getting stronger. It is getting weaker, slower. It is fading, just like yours. You stop. Because now, another thought is forming. And it is the worst of all. What if it didn't follow you? What if it died? Your chest tightens. Because now, you understand the pattern. Movement, sound, heat, all of it. Faded. Just like you. You slowly turn your head. The darkness feels different now. Less busy. Less present. Like something is disappearing. And then, you hear it. A final breath. Close. Very close. Right next to you. And then, nothing. The silence that remains, it stops. Not slowly. Completely. Breathing. Gone. You don't move. Because now, the silence seems heavier than anything you've heard before. It presses down on you, from all sides. Not empty. Full. As if something is still there. Just not alive anymore. You breathe in. Your breathing is weaker now. Shallow. It doesn't reach as far. Your chest rises, but not completely. You try again. Nothing changes. You close your eyes. Just for a second. Too long. You open them again. Slower this time. Everything seems slower. Even fear. That's when it happens. The moment. The one most people don't understand. The moment when the panic disappears. Not because you're safe, but because your body can't take it anymore. You feel it now. A strange calm, cold, far, wrong. You look around. The walls don't feel so close anymore. The darkness doesn't feel so heavy. Everything feels softer. It's not relief. It's something else. You take a step. Your foot lands, but you barely feel it. The ground doesn't react the same way. Or you don't. You're not sure. You move again. Slower. Your balance shifts. But it doesn't matter. Not like before. Because now you react differently than before. And that's when the realization comes. Silence. Inevitable. You lose control. Not of space. Of yourself. You press your hand against the wall. Cold. But far away. Muffled. You don't feel it fully anymore. Your fingers don't react the same way anymore. You try to bend them. They move. But slowly. Like they belong to someone else. You look down. Your hands don't look the same, paler. More stiff, not frozen, but close. You inhale again. It barely reaches your chest. Your vision narrows a little. The edges darken. You blink. This time, the darkness lasts longer. You open your eyes, and for a moment, you don't remember where you are. Just for a second. Then it comes back. Ice, door, bell, breath. Gone. That's when a new fear appears, colder than the rest. What if you were next? You shake your head, slowly, weakly, because now another thought follows. Not just you, all of them. You look down again, at the ground, to what lies beneath it. And now, you don't imagine movement. You imagine stillness, permanence. You take a step. Your foot slips a little. You don't react in time. You fall, this time, harder. Your shoulder touches the ground. Your cheek presses against the surface. Cold, but distant, muffled. You stay there. Not because you want to, because getting up is harder. Too hard. You close your eyes again. And this time, you don't open them right away. Because now, something else is happening. Not panic, not fear, something quieter, harder. You feel it spreading through your chest, your hands, your thoughts. A slow surrender. And then, you hear something, faintly, very faintly. At first, you think it's your imagination. But then, it becomes clearer. No knock, no breath, a voice, distant, muffled, above you. You open your eyes, slowly. The darkness shifts again, or your mind shifts. You listen. The voice comes again, faintly, indistinct, but real. You can't make out the words, just the tone, calm, controlled, carefree. This is worse, because now, you understand something else. There are people upstairs, close enough to hear, but not close enough to help. You try to speak. Your mouth opens, but no sound comes out. Only air, weak, broken. You try again. Nothing. Your throat doesn't respond. Your body doesn't respond. You raise your hand. Barely. It trembles. Then it falls. You lie there, listening, to voices that can't hear you, to the world that goes on just above your head. And tonight, you're not just locked in the cold. You disappear beneath it, while everything above you continues to exist, as if you were never here. Those they left inside. You try to move, just your fingers. Nothing. You try again. Slower. They answer, but barely. It's as if the signal hasn't come in for too long. You look at your hand. It doesn't look like yours anymore. Your skin is pale, almost colorless. Your breathing is shallow now, too shallow. You try to take in more air, but your chest resists. Not completely, just enough to make it difficult. This is worse, because now you understand something. You're not out of breath quickly. You're fading slowly. You turn your head. The movement is delayed, heavy. The camera stretches around you, distorted. Or your vision. You blink. The darkness lingers longer. Then it dissipates. Barely. You hear the voices again. Up there. Still unaware. Still talking. You try to focus. Understand. But the words don't come through, just the tone. Calm. Routine. Normal. This is the worst. There's nothing normal about it. And yet, to them, it is. You put your palm on the ground. You try to get up. Your hand shakes. It doesn't work. You fall back. The surface beneath you shifts slightly. Soft. Not hard. You don't react. Not the way you should. Because now your body chooses something else. Stillness. You lie there, breathing, slowly, fading, and then another memory comes to mind. Not yours. Stories. The door opens. Not right away. Not when the doorbell rang. Hours later. Sometimes days. A man stands at the door, hesitates, because he knows what he might find. But he opens it anyway. Inside. The cold hits first. Sharp. Dead. Then, silence. But the worst part wasn't the silence. It was the position of the body, not where they left it. Not lying still, moving, shifting, closer to the door, closer to the walls, closer to the surface. Fingers. Worn. Nails. Broken. Wood. scratched from the inside. Some tried to stand. Some tried to climb out. Some tried to dig. Through the ice. Through the wood. Through anything. But the cold slows everything down. Muscles. Thought. Time. And finally, they stopped. Not because they gave up. Because they couldn't go on. And when the door finally opened, it was too late. You look ahead. But your attention fades. Because now, you don't need imagination. You know exactly what happened here. Not once, not twice. But enough times to build this place, to design it this way, to accept it. You try to move again. Your hand rises slightly, then falls. You don't feel the impact, not completely. Your breathing slows again. Too slow. Your chest barely moves. You listen. The voices from above continue, unchanging, without realizing it. You want to call out. You try. Your mouth opens, but nothing comes out. Not even air this time. You close it. Because right now, it doesn't matter. They won't hear you. Not in time, not through this, not through the layers of earth, brick, ice, and everything else. You turn your head slightly. Almost no movement. But enough. You see the wall again. The figures inside, hands frozen, still, and now you notice something else. They're all looking in one direction, to the door. You close your eyes, because right now, this detail is too much, too clear, too real. You open them again, slowly, because now another thought is forming, and this one doesn't feel like fear. It feels like truth. You're not the first, and you won't be the last. You breathe in, barely. There's almost no air left, or your ability to use it. You're not sure. You lie still. Because now, motion feels unnecessary. Everything feels unnecessary. Even fear. And then, you hear it. Weakness. Almost gone. The only sound. Behind you. A knock. The sound that was never outside. You hear it again. That sound. The knock. The same one. The one that started everything. But now, you don't turn. Because now, you already know. It's not outside. It never was. Your eyes stay half open. Heavy. Slow. You listen. The knock comes again. Weaker this time. Closer. Not behind the door. Not on the walls. Inside the space around you. Inside the ground. Inside the cold. And then, you understand. Not suddenly, but completely. Every sound, every movement, every breath you heard was never coming from something else. It was coming from here, from this place, from the people inside it, the ones in the walls, the ones beneath your feet, the ones who waited, the ones who woke up. Too late. You try to move, just slightly. Your fingers respond. Barely, but enough. You press them into the ground. The surface shifts. Soft. Not solid. You feel it again. Bone. Cloth. Layers. You are not lying on the ground. You are lying on them. Your breath breaks. Weak. Shallow. But something else changes. Your fear returns. Not strong. Not sharp. But enough. Because now, you realize something worse. The knocking never stopped. You just couldn't hear it before, or didn't understand it. You listen again. The sound continues. Faint. Irregular. Different directions. Not one source. Many. Too many. Some closer. Some deeper. Some almost gone, and some just beginning. Your chest tightens. Because now, you understand the pattern. This place was never silent. It was always full. Full of people trying to be heard. Your vision narrows again. The edges darken. Your focus slips. But your mind, for a moment, becomes clear. Too clear. And that's when the final piece arrives. Cold. Unavoidable. The knock you heard at the beginning, the one that answered you, was not someone outside. It was someone inside, trying to reach the door. Just like you. You turn your head. Slow. Painfully slow. Toward the door. It's still there, closed, silent, unmoving. You stare at it, and now you see it differently. Not as an exit, as a boundary between two worlds. Above, life continues. Below, time stops. And those inside, wait, not for rescue, for silence. Your breath fades again, almost gone now. Your chest barely moves. You feel it? The moment, the one history rarely describes properly. Not panic, not fear, just letting go. But something interrupts it. One last thing, a sound. Very close. Right beside your ear. A knock. Single. Weak. And then, you feel it. Not fear, not cold. A hand, pressing lightly against yours. From beneath. You don't pull away. You can't. And you don't want to. Because now, you are no longer alone in this moment. And tonight, you finally understand you were never the first to hear it. The cold that keeps them. You don't feel your hand anymore. Not the one beneath yours. Not your own. The contact fades. Slowly. Like everything else. Your breath. Almost gone now. Your chest barely moves. Each inhale is smaller than the last. Each exhale, quieter. You don't fight it anymore. Because now, there is nothing left to fight. Only something left to understand. And that understanding arrives. Calm. Cold. Complete. Victorian ice houses were not built for people. But people ended up inside them anyway. Not by accident, not always. Some were brought here, carefully, quietly, because there was a problem no one wanted to speak about openly. Death was not always clear. Doctors did what they could. They checked breath. They checked pulse. They waited. But sometimes they were wrong. And being wrong meant burying someone alive. So they created another step. Waiting. Cold storage. A place where the body could remain unchanged until they were certain that life had truly left. But certainty takes time, and time, inside places like this, does something else. It removes warmth, slows thought, softens panic, turns movement into stillness. Some never woke. They stayed exactly as they were, preserved, forgotten. But some did wake. Not all at once, not clearly. Sometimes just a breath, a movement, a sound, a knock. And by the time they understood where they were, they no longer had the strength to change it. Their bodies slowed. Their voices failed. Their hands weakened. And the cold finished what uncertainty began. You lie still. Because now you understand the structure around you, the layers, ice above, bodies within, ground beneath, all of it, designed to hold, to preserve, to delay decay, but also to delay discovery. You try to inhale again. Nothing changes. Your chest barely responds. The air is still there, but your body no longer uses it the same way. This is how it happens. Not suddenly, not violently, quietly, gradually. You look toward the door. One last time. It hasn't moved. It never did. Not for them. Not for you. And above, the world continues. Carts roll. Voices speak. Life moves forward, unaware, uninterrupted, because places like this were not meant to be seen. They were meant to exist quietly, beneath everything, holding what no one wanted to confront. You close your eyes, not out of fear, not out of exhaustion, just because it feels natural. And for a moment, there is nothing. No sound, no movement, no thought, only stillness. And then, very faintly, something remains. Not breath, not voice, just a memory of sound. A knock. Somewhere in the dark, not loud enough to wake anyone above, but not gone. Never completely gone. Because places like this do not forget. And tonight, you became part of it. Part of the silence beneath the city. Part of the cold that keeps everything exactly as it was. long after it should have ended. This is not a horror story. This is history.